There we go. Good afternoon. It is Friday, May 1st. We're now into May, and we're here with Shane Force and Mary Beth for our
Hello.
Mortgage Friday update. Hi, Shane. How are you?
Hi, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Good. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Do you want to give a couple-minute update just on what you're seeing this week?
Yeah, sure. So, another stable week for interest rates, which is great. Um, Stable week for interest rates, and we're seeing 30-year fixed in the low threes. We're seeing 15-year fixed in the high twos to low threes. So a really good environment. We haven't seen rates drop a ton, but they're at least stable, which has been positive.
Yeah.
Interesting. I read an article today about the amount of fraud and wire fraud that has just skyrocketed over the last couple of weeks, and I've seen and heard from a lot of attorneys and title companies that no one's walking into bank branches and everyone's wiring money. So the number of
Wow.
phishing incidences. I had two incidents over the past couple of weeks where I was doing a refinance for realtors themselves, and they got emails from like somebody who was trying to pose as their attorney or their title company and asking them to wire money or give information, and both of them were realtors, and they're like, no. And they called me to check. They were both like, this looks odd. There was like
The
one.
intangible benefits of being in the business.
Exactly. So that they picked the wrong victim, but these hackers are smart. They will switch something on your email address that they'll make it look like it's the attorney or the title company. So you just never wire money without picking up the phone and verbally saying, hey, I'm sending it to this wiring address, and regardless of how comfortable you are with that attorney, it could be your brother, but you just don't do it. You just pick up the phone and make sure you confirm everything verbally.
Yeah.
And it's one extra step, but it can save thousands of dollars.
It's
So
interesting that you bring that point, because I got a call a couple weeks ago, which I had experienced prior, and I freaked out, and then I realized what it was. Kelly Florio was there for that. I think Matt might have been
I
there for
actually
that.
kind of Social Security.
Yeah, the Social Security fraud call, and I mean, they got me. I thought I literally was in trouble with something, and the prey on the Social Security, just give us your Social Security number, we need to verify, blah, blah. And I just got that call like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, no, you're not going to get me this time. But I bet you that there's a lot of people with time on their hands that if that's the way they were making money, they probably amped up, doubled down on their business too.
yeah. They're home. They might have had a main job. They're unemployed, and they know that everyone else doesn't want to walk into a bank branch. It's just, you got to look
That's
out
funny.
for it. But anyway, that was an article that I read, and I said to my assistant, I'm like, we've got to send this to every new home buyer. Like, this is a really good article for people to know that it's not just something you read online or in the newspaper. Like, it's happening. Like, these thieves are on the search, looking to get people's identity or their cash.
Well, and to your point is that everything is happening online, even contracts. If somebody is looking for the opportunistic time, which is when they're going to closing, if somebody is real sharp, they can actually pinpoint when they would need to reach out to the buyer to say, hi,
Absolutely.
we're the new title company that just
Yep.
jumped in, send us your information. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's really important to get this out.
Yeah, that they tap into one of either the customer, the mortgage company, the attorney, or the title company. You're going to know when that closing is. You reach out 7 to 10 days in advance, wire the money here. It's email is not hard to hack, right? We know that. We all know that it's not foolproof. So anyway, just something to keep in mind. It's interesting. I wanted to share. I doing a refinance for a customer that was from Passaic County. Just took their information today, and they were in a 20-year fix, and I've been seeing a lot of this. They're in a 20-year fixed at 4.625. We are bringing them down to a 30-year fixed at 3.25, and a lot of
You're
equity in
gonna
the
kill their monthly payment.
yeah, and reducing their rate, their interest over the life, and you always have to look at that. Their interest over the life of the loan is about the same. Like it's not increasing, it's not decreasing, but they're cutting their payment by $541 a month, and I've been seeing that a lot. That we're able to keep their interest paid the same that over the life of the loan, their current loan versus their new loan, reducing their out of pocket. And people in this environment, that's what they want. They want, let me save some cash. They both had reductions in their salaries, and from just, rather than being on furlough. So that's what I've been seeing a lot of. And that's, if anyone has any past clients, friends, family, that are in that scenario that could use a reduction, it might be around 4% or higher. It works out kind of well based on where rates are now.
Well, and I love that you're making the point that the interest paid in, maybe some people don't necessarily understand that concept is
Yeah.
interest that you're going to pay in the life of the loan is it's quite a bit of money. And if you think you're getting a deal for now, you do want to check to see that 20 years from now, did I just pay like $300,000 more for that house? I mean, that's the kind of numbers we're talking about with the difference of an interest rate and spreading it or shortening it for the years. So I like that you brought that part into it for somebody to think about. Don't just get the shiny object, oh, I'm going to reduce the rate now. Make sure it's really going to be a win for you and your family in the long run.
It's a lot of extra work for me and my team, but we do that for every refinance. And we look at, hey, what is your current interest rate? What is your current loan amount? What was your original loan amount when you got the loan? And when I ask people that, they're like, I'm asking you to refinance. What do you care about my existing loan? I'm telling you I'm at 4.25%. I want to refinance. But listen, Mr. Customer, when you see the analysis, you'll see why, because I want to know how much, where you are in your amortization schedule and how far you have to go and how much interest you have to cut through. And then I'll be able to figure out, is this really worth it? Because you might save $160 a month and you're 4 years into your loan, but now you're going back to a 30-year term where there's more interest on the front end of the loan. So you have to look at that in every refinance. And so many, to be honest with you, in my industry, people are just like, oh, you're saving $150. Let's do it. That's great. Even though the person might not benefit in the long run,
Well, and I want to make a point is that because we're doing conversations like this, is that part of your service and who you are, Shane Force, regardless of what company you'd work for. And I know Atlantic Homes is very blessed to have you for such a long time, but that just goes to show that I don't know that I would have ever known that about you, how fiduciary you just explained how you are rather than just functionary without having these kind of conversations. Not everybody goes to that extent to say, wait, hold on, let me at least bring this to the forefront, even though the customer doesn't even care. I want to make sure that they're clear on what this is going to inevitably cost them. So I love that.
I've lost business from it because I've said, it looks like Gerald is on. Yeah, that is Gerald. That's Gerald on my team. He's on the call with us too. So I invited him to come on. So,
Gerald.
So it looks like, I've lost business because of that. And I said, yeah, you're going to save $150 a month. But in the long run, I want you to know that the interest is increasing. They're like, holy crow, like no one's ever told me that. Like you've been honest. And then they're like, you know what? Then they tell three or four family members, at least this guy's going to be honest with you and give you a fair shake and tell you whether he thinks you should do it or not,
Exactly.
And I think I just get more business from it over time anyway,
Well, that's building your business. That regardless of what business we're in the business of lead generation and customer service, regardless of what our product is, that's how you ultimately earn the business and build a business through people, right? I was reading an article about the forbearance and what I think it was a number like 4 million mortgages are in forbearance, which was like 30% of all mortgages. I mean, to me, that's scary to know how they're going to be treated and what that's going to do for some people's credit. And if they're really going to have in 3 months, did they really financially save the money and are able to pay it? And I mean, that it's an opportunity, and yet it concerns me for some people that may not know what to do.
Yeah, and people need to remember that it's not just a free gift. We had this in 2000. For those of us that were in the industry in the last downturn in 2008, 9, and 10, loan modifications were huge, everyone was being offered loan modifications. Hey, I can do this. It reduces my monthly payment by $300 a month. Great. I might as well take it. Even people that really didn't need it. Then like 2 years later, the mortgage industry started saying, well, anyone that was in a loan modification, like we want to see 700 credit scores or better. Like it was a black mark against you. It was a negative. And this forbearance, it's going, even though a lot of our underwriting is done manually or automated, there's still that underwriter that needs to look at it, and they're going to see it as a sign of weakness, that they are. So if you don't need to go into forbearance, don't see it as a free, ticket not to pay your mortgage, because it's not going to be a positive to anyone, even you're getting an auto loan or a student loan or another installment loan. If you really need it, take it, take the 3-month break.
Right.
But most of them, like you said, Mary Beth, you get a 3-month break. They want that 3 months worth of mortgage right at the end of the 90 days. Some mortgage companies are putting it onto the back of the loan. You're paying it anyway. Right. But most of them want the money right away at the end of month 3 or the end of month 6. So
my both my mortgages were not willing to do anything other than hold off the 3 months and then pay it on month 3, all 3. And they weren't sure how it was going to affect the credit. And, I just made that decision to just pay it because I have it, and not take those chances. So,
and you got to be careful too. Like we're doing a refinance for a customer, well qualified. He was kind of worried about his job, and he said, he called up his mortgage company and said, and just like you did, just getting information, right? So he ended up saying to them, okay, great, thanks for the information, and said, I'll pass on it. They didn't hear the I'll pass on it, and they put him down as requesting being in forbearance. And then he came to me and said, I want to refinance. And now we're doing a refinance form. And when we did a verification of mortgage to make sure he's paying on time, it says he's in forbearance. And I said, I apologize. We can't, if you can't your mortgage payment now, we can't sign you up for a new mortgage. So that's something that everyone needs to remember, that when you get a new mortgage, you're saying, I can pay this mortgage. So, you shouldn't be on the edge of forbearance when you're going to refinance. That's a contradictory of what you're signing the dotted line for, so contradiction. But yeah, so now he has to go back to them and say, guys, that was in March. I paid my April payment. I'm not in forbearance. I paid my payment and you took it in April. So hopefully he can get that straightened out. But you just got to be careful that when you have that conversation, as a lot of people have probably done like you did, Mary Beth, right? Hey, just want to get information.
Yeah.
And see what the deal is. Just make sure, hey, well, I don't want to do it. I just wanted information.
Yeah. Well, because the reality is if they told me they put it on the back end and I can save myself that cat and keep that cash right now, even if it would have cost me a couple $100 on each payment to push it forward, I would have probably taken that, because I recognize right now that cash is king and there's opportunities that are going to come from this. And I want to be in a position to take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah.
And so are you seeing that with some of your business, that it is people that are looking to take opportunity of the market?
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing a refinance now for, actually it was this customer was referred by an agent in your office, and the home is very close to your office in Wayne. It's in Morris County. And they very well qualified. Their current mortgage was at 4.5. We're bringing them down to 3.75, and they're reducing their mortgage payment by $324 a month, increasing the interest over the life of the loan by $2,000. But this customer said, you know what, that's like nothing. I want to save the $300 a month now. So yes, it was a scenario where we brought the rate down, even though I'm going to pay a little more later. I want the cash now,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So,
but
Shane,
as far as on the purchase end, we're still doing, FHA loans have come back a little bit. That's one thing. 3 weeks ago, I think I was on this and I said, I'm struggling to give, when somebody has an average credit score of 680 or 660, I'm struggling to give them a 0-point quote. Those have come back a little bit, mainly because for years Atlantic Home Loans has sold like directly to FHA. And in the past, they haven't been as great as kind of funding those loans and backing us up as quickly as like a Chase or a Wells Fargo or somebody else will be, who we work with on the correspondent or secondary level. Because when you come to Atlantic Home Loans, like we put the information into our system, we price the loan, and 25 back-end investors all bid on that loan and say, hey, I'll offer them 3 1/8, I'll offer them 3%. So FHA hasn't always been the best price, but now we're selling directly to them, because a lot of these other correspondent lenders are worried about what you just talked about, Mary Beth. When a consumer doesn't pay their mortgage, the servicer of that loan, let's say you're making your payments to Chase still has to make a payment to the end investor. Chase doesn't own that loan. It's either Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or, Bank of Tokyo, whoever it might be. But Chase doesn't own that loan. So a lot of these lenders just raise their rates and are being more picky because of the stimulus package. They don't like the fact that our politicians are saying you don't have to pay your mortgage for 3 to 6 months. But now going right to FHA, we've kind of been able to get better rates without points for FHA buyers. So that's an improvement from when we talked a couple of weeks ago. That if you're looking to put 3% down, maybe you have average credit, maybe the debt, maybe you have student loan debt that you're still working on to pay off. Like FHA is a great option for that type of buyer, first-time home buyer. It's like a classic go-to program, So so now it's back. You can get 3.25 or 3.125, 0 points, and do a seller concession if the seller allows you.
I just want to show you something here, if you don't mind. I'm going to share the screen for a second.
Yeah.
This is the showings in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this is trending from January and measuring the first week of showings, and then the yellow line is 2020, the blue line is 2019. As you can see, every week it's comparison to the first week of the year. So assuming that naturally in February, March, that they start increasing compared to January 1st through 7th. So as you can see, we were yellow the whole way on top of the blue until that day of March 10th. And March 10th, everything changed in the showings for our agents. And we look at this as the lead measure to measure to see when we'll have contracts come back and as one of the indicators. So as you can see, it really, really dips down there. And that is on the lowest day was March 27th, biggest spread. But now here's the good news is we start to see it come back up.
Yeah. Look at like April 16th. It's increasing. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like people are starting to figure out how to show inventory. And that's physical showings. So now just imagine that the gap, maybe half of it may be done virtually. I think our industry is figuring out how to do this. And it sounds like you haven't missed a beat as far as servicing and being able to service clients. Are you seeing any increase, decrease with your approvals, contracts, and closings going smoothly? How are your appraisals?
Just last night, I had a customer call me at like 7:45, and then a realtor call me at 8:14 p.m. looking for updated pre-approvals and a new pre-approval, which hasn't happened in a while. Since this thing started, my phone after 5 o'clock really hasn't been crazy at all. And when I normally have different team members on my team work with me, and we normally have someone helping me till 8:30 at night. And last night was my shopping run, right? When I made my, put on my gear and went to ShopRite. But as I was coming back, I got 2 calls from a customer and a realtor, which hasn't happened in a while. It hasn't happened in a few weeks. So
those are lead measures for you. Lead measures are going to say the phone starts ringing after 5. Okay, cool.
Correct. Yeah. And so those are 2 new offers that just went in today. One in Somerset, one in Bergen County. So
Bergen County.
Yeah.
That's just because they got hurt so bad with this. It's nice to hear that they're back in business.
Yeah, well, and we work with you know, KW Ridgewood and KW Wood,
Bergen County
so
properties.
they keep us busy. But
I'm sure.
and Tenafly is a great office for us, at least a good partnership.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Oh, Shane, I was just going to ask you, as we were talking about, you were talking about, uh, services to agents and to clients, after 5 p.m. and that type of stuff. Before we really went into this lockdown, agents are hosting open houses, loan officers are helping market open houses, or whether through flyers or sometimes sitting at open house with an agent. Is there anything that you're seeing now, like as agents are starting to become more accustomed to doing virtual open houses? Are there services or things that you're helping out with on the agent end in terms of aiding them through some of these maybe virtual open houses or
Like
marketing
to give them
or any
some
stuff like that?
tips.
Yeah, or any tips?
You know, I haven't been involved with that part of the equation. You know, I've seen, you know, some people that from our end, when they want to get pre-approved, they might want to drop things off at our office. You know, we get 2 or 3 of those a week that people are just like, I just feel more secure. That I even when I tell them that our system is a banking industry approved system, you can scan and upload your documents, and we can have this type of conversation if you do want to meet. Some people still want to like drop things off at our office, and you know, and obviously that has gone away. Like no one wants to come into your office, and if they did, I would say, well, you can leave it there, but I'll come and pick it up later, you know.
Yeah.
But um, I think more people are applying on my website than ever before. And maybe because they can scan and upload things directly to our site. We're a paperless company. So as far as operationally, it hasn't really hurt us tremendously, other than the fact that our processor can't turn around and talk to the underwriter or the closing department. But we've had so many people that, okay, if I can't drop the documents off to Shane's office, then at least I'll scan and upload them, because that is more secure than emailing them.
Yeah.
And I've had more people applying online than ever before. Even we talk on the phone, we get the general information. They're like, you know what, I'll just go on your website and I'll upload my W-2s and my pay stubs there. That way I don't have to email them or fax them. So from my end, I've seen a rise in online applications over the past 6 weeks. But I'm not involved a lot
Yeah.
on the showing end of it. But
Yeah.
but
I
that's
I
was just
know. And
curious.
I just looked to see. I mean, it's super easy to find you. Just go on Google, Shane Force. You
yeah
put Atlantic Home Loans and it pops up there, and your website's pretty easy for people to just go through and want to get pre-approved,
yeah.
go right through his portal and be able to
Yeah, if you ever lose
reschedule
my
Shane.
information, it's just my name. It's just shaneforce.com, and you hit the get pre-approved button. If you're looking to refinance, you could say, I want to refinance as well. You can put that in. And the system is really cool. Based on the answers that you give, if you're self-employed, it'll ask you to upload tax returns. If you're a W-2 employee, it'll ask you to upload pay stubs and W-2s. Because most of the time now, I don't need tax returns on someone who's a W-2 employee of a company. So why get that and bother to upload the 50 pages of documentation if we don't need it, So the system is smart enough to answer and ask you the right questions. I always call and we'll check and be like, so you on a salary, or you hourly, or what's your rate per hour, just to make sure. But yeah, it's great that system has helped us tremendously. Also, that system allows, one of the biggest complaints we had when people applied was bank statements, because you can't just go on your phone and do a print screen. That won't even have your name or your account number on it, or sometimes the name of the bank. And so many people used to just try and do that and send us their bank statements. And, we need your name and your actual account number on your bank statement to prove that it is your money. And it's tough to do that on an online banking type of scenario. It's tough to get that printout. So that was the biggest complaint we had. This system allows you to link your bank account. If you want to, you can still upload a PDF document to it, but it allows you to sign in through Chase, Wells Fargo, whoever you have your online banking with, and give us access to pull the bank statement once, or for the next 120 days. So it's really like decreased a lot of complaints about, hey, I can't, the bank won't give me a printout with my name and my full account number on it. So it has helped tremendously. So
That is a very frustrating part of the process.
it is.
So the fact
Yeah.
that you have taken care of that is awesome,
Yeah.
especially when it's like, oh wait, we need one more statement. It's like, oh,
Correct.
yeah,
And then you think you're good, and then somebody gets, you know, a check from their parents that are giving them a gift, and then 2 days earlier you got a $5,000 large deposit, and now we need to see where that came from. So,
yep,
but when they have their accounts linked, I don't even need that. I can just see where, oh, I've got both of these accounts. I see that it was a $5,000 deposit from their savings account. Some people are nervous about that. They're like, oh, I'm not going to give you access. And I understand that, but it's just going to be a little more of a legwork, you know? So there's always, and I've found that the younger generation of buyers loves it, just, you know, eats it up. Absolutely, I'll do that. They prefer it. You know, and, you know, maybe you get the older generation, which doesn't trust it. You know, hey, I'd rather just come to your office. I'll drop it off. Hey, fine.
yeah.
You have the option. It's just an option.
Yeah, over the years, I've had to convince my mother that, and she's 70, they can get whatever they want from you through the online world. It's not you giving them access, so don't worry about it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for this talk. Very informative. I got a couple of notes here myself.
Good. Good.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Shane, and we look forward to seeing you again next Friday.
All right. Sounds
Enjoy
good.
those
guys.
Have a great
parks.
weekend. Stay safe.
Yes.
Enjoy
will
the
do.
weather.
All right.
Okay.
You too, guys.
Bye,
Have a
guys.
good weekend. Stay
You
safe.
too. Bye.